Alright, update for GMT. So I'm seeing some very bullish macro signals in the charts right now that could spell a reversal anytime soon for green Metaverse tokens. So let's jump right into the video for today. Before we do jump into the technical analysis, I did want to microdose just 2 or 3 updates over on the STEPN Twitter. So let's jump right in. As you can see, they've reached a new milestone on Twitter. They've just hit 400,000 followers. Now, if that wasn't bullish enough, you scroll a tiny bit down and you can see their Discord recently hit 500,000 or 500,000 followers. There's definitely some crazy adoption going on right now on the STEPN app and of course on GMT. So one more thing before we do jump into the analysis. If you do want to follow me on Twitter, 618_cowboy, might as well shill my Twitter before we do jump into the analysis for today. So we are going to be looking at the momentum indicators like we normally do, because in the lower time frames, bear in mind, before we do jump into the lower time frames are still bearish. However, more macro time frames is what I want to focus this video on today. If we remove some of these drawings so we can start afresh, well, what do you see? You can see most recently, and what I want to focus on is this rally that started here and when the oscillator came up and topped out here. So what do you notice with both of these points right here? Well, if you're looking at the price chart specifically, you can see that the price is making higher lows. At least at this moment in time, we've got a higher low on the green Metaverse token price, and you correlate that to where we were on the oscillator. What has the oscillator done? I mean, we can draw it from, even though we don't have a perfect line of fit on the RSI, we do have a perfect line of fit. Very interesting here with the RSI. I wouldn't take that to the bank. Nonetheless, very interesting fit. I really want to focus on what we're seeing here. If you look at the MFI, which is much more blatantly obvious with what we're seeing going on right now, what do you see? You see the price going up and you see the oscillators going down. Now, if you don't know, this is called bullish divergence, and specifically this is hidden bullish divergence. This isn't regular bullish divergence, this is hidden bullish divergence. Hidden bullish divergence is when you see the price going to the upside and making higher highs as we go up. And what do you see with your oscillators? You see your oscillators coming down to reset as the price goes up. What does this show? This is a form of macro continuation. This is why it's called hidden bullish divergence, because you normally don't know until it smacks you across the face and then it's blatantly obvious. And I've only just noticed this on the daily. This is a huge signal, considering this bullish divergence has been going on for, looks like, almost half the amount of time that GMT has been trading. So we're seeing bullish divergence on half of GMT's trading history. That is about as macro as you can get. I've never seen, well, I mean I have, but I haven't seen bullish divergence this promising in a very long period of time. So, you know, before we did jump into the shorter term time frames, obviously did just want to talk about this super bullish signal that is predicting continuation on GMT. Now, jumping into the price chart, because the chart says something slightly different, and let's line up what we've got with the lows down here. Like, don't get me wrong, on this time frame as well, you can see we are putting in higher lows, so I really wouldn't necessarily panic with what's going on GMT right now. Looking at your oscillators on the 4-hourly time frame, it does look like we are having a prolonged period of time where we do kind of just chill around these lower regions. On the RSI, we are chilling out right now. We could potentially be playing out an inverse head and shoulders on the RSI. If you don't know, you can draw charting patterns on the oscillators down here. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, you can. Looking at GMT, let's hop over to your momentum indicators and our moving averages. Like I said, the trend so far was perfectly defined by these 4-hourly EMA ribbons. It's very clear cut. You have these uptrends perfectly supported by your EMA ribbons every time you backtest them. you hold them perfectly and then you move up for a higher move before you do break down below them. But what we're seeing right now is we're seeing a shift in momentum. We're having bearish momentum stepping in, and at this moment in time I would not necessarily look to go too crazy into GMT. However, we are seeing a lot of macro bullish signals in the market, which does make me want to make a trade in the short term for GMT. However, there is one caveat and one thing that I would be waiting for before I did enter a trade. So let's jump into what I would need to see. The first thing I would need to see, I imagine as we're going to come down, it looks like we're coming down. So from our last low to high, your 786 Fibonacci is this line in the sand right here. As long as we hold above this trend, we would not only have higher highs, or higher lows rather, we could potentially be Wing out, we could have a W pattern playing out, and we would also subside more of this bearish momentum if we do manage to do that. That would also allow your oscillators to push back up, and on the daily this is very important. If we do want to see that bullish divergence, the price starting to come up as well, is really what we need to see at this moment in time if we want this macro bullish signal to play out. In my opinion, I think something like this could be playing out for GMT, where we could be getting ready to finally flip your 4-hourly EMAs. Now, like I said, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm really waiting for this breakout to happen, and once it does happen, I would be entering a trade. So let's say hypothetically that these the long-term moving average on your EMA ribbons tapers down over the next couple of days, because what I'm specifically looking for is I'm looking for an entry point on the 9th of May. Now, I don't want to make a whole video about why I'm targeting the 9th of May. Long story short, because I know most of you who watch these altcoin videos, especially the move to earns, you probably only care about altcoins. I imagine you don't care at all about the stock market. But the fact of the matter is, the stock market is very bearish right now. We do have the stock market opening back again on Monday. I would be waiting until Monday to see if we do get a pump or a dump, because at this moment in time we've got blue chip stocks like Tesla, Coinbase, Google, Facebook all dumping, and it's not looking great. The SPY is on its last legs, the Nasdaq's breaking down, and like I said, I know that you move to earn altcoin holders probably do not care at all about the stock market, but the fact of the matter is GMT could have a reversal today and jump above this line, and then if the stock market opens bearish, it could just go and completely flush out. So I've been sitting on the sidelines for GMT for a long period of time now. We got out of GMT, I believe we got out as the 4-hourly EMAs flipped bearish at $3.40. We jumped in a very long time ago, or did we jump out at $3.12? I've been in a lot of trades recently, and I've been stopped out from a lot of them in profits recently as the market's turned bearish. So yeah, I got stopped out, or I sold my position on green Metaverse token anywhere around this vicinity. So I mean, even if we're being conservative and saying that I sold at $3.13, a breakout would still mean that we are getting a sizable discount, and I'm pretty sure that I sold when these flipped bearish on the 4-hourly. So what am I seeing for GMT? Higher time frames, we've got bullish divergence, we've got higher highs, higher lows. Everything about this chart screams macro bullish to me. They're seeing tons of adoption. I do like the GMT project in the short term. It is not something I want to hold over the next couple of years. It's not even something I want to hold over the next year, but I do think it will do well over the next month or two, over the next couple of months, I reckon. Now, daily time frame, yes, we are technically having a bearish shift to the downside, but while we're being supported by these daily EMA ribbons, and while we're being supported by this daily uptrend, which is also the price line defining the bullish divergence, I wouldn't be worrying at all at this moment in time. So I'm personally not looking to jump in on GMT right now, even though we are miles down from when I previously exited the market in a profit. You know me, if you do watch my channel, if you're a seasoned veteran, I love to play from positions of strength. I love to play as we get confirmed breakouts from the market. I do not like to assume or pretend that I've got a crystal ball, because no one does. Nobody knows where the exact bottom is. All we can do is look at the market from a probability perspective. and we can acknowledge what defines these uptrends. Like I said, 4-hourly EMAs to the upside defines the uptrend. If you sold the second that it flipped bearish, you would have been making bank. If you buy, in my opinion, if you buy the second this flips back bullish, I think we're about to, because that's the whole point, you're buying the start of an uptrend. You know, these uptrends can last for a very, very long period of time. The last time we had a big run up on GMT, I mean, before we topped, I mean, this was 50 days worth of data trade. It says 300 bars, but bear in mind we're on the 4-hourly time frame, so 50 days. So I think we've covered everything on GMT today. The major level that I would want to see it hold is this green box right here. So once again, you've got your 786 Fibonacci target, which we talked about from your most recent impulse. Then you've got the lows down here, and this also incorporates this nice uptrending trend line. So I wouldn't necessarily mind too much if we did just kind of do something like this before Wing out, or even if we did a double or triple bottom pattern. But I would like this green box to hold ideally. I don't think we are going to head down far into this green box. I'm much more of the opinion that we're going to do something like this or something like this. And I also, to wrap up the video, even though it's not directly something to do with GMT, it's something that indirectly will affect GMT. I made a Bitcoin video earlier. If you do want to go check it out, go check it out. It's titled Bitcoin 6 Weekly Red Candles, and I highlighted the fact that we're currently about to put in our 6th red weekly candle. Can you guess how many red candles we've put in a row before? The record was 5. We've never put in 6 candles before, and what always happens after we put in 4 or 5 red weekly candles? Well, I'm sure you can figure it out, right? If we haven't put in more than 4 or 5 red weekly candles before, then that must mean that the next week is followed by a green candle. So what do I think that means for the markets? I do think Bitcoin, the stock markets, the crypto markets could have a bounce coming into next week. I'd be very cautious about buying this in the hopes of holding it for the next year or so. Like I said, I like to look at these uptrends and look at what defines uptrends and downtrends. I'd be looking for this next momentum shift. Believe me, I will be the first YouTuber to let you know as we do break bullish. I'd be looking to break above this this orange line here. Obviously, this is a complete hypothetical, because I'm saying, you know, this is where I would buy if we did do this exact scenario. We might not play out to the teeth like this, so I will let you know when I do plan on entering the markets. At this moment in time is not the time. I would especially be waiting for the stock market opening on Monday to see how the markets do react. So what do I see on GMT? Tying it up in a neat bow. Lower time frames, the bottom might not be in. We might be coming down for one more low before we do bounce out of here. But the higher time frames, it looks like we're getting ready for that next weekly pump back up to the upside. I think it's long overdue. These crypto projects, their pumps and dumps are very, very short-lived. We go through these momentum swings very quick. You can see huge pump. Next week, huge dump. 2 weeks later, huge pump. 2 weeks later, huge dump. I think we're going to be out of here by next week. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think of that down below. Are you picking up GMT at these levels, or are you like me? And are you waiting for the markets to tell you, pardon me, are you waiting for the markets to tell you that we're about to have a macro market momentum swing on the EMA ribbons? Let me know down below. As always, cowboy out, not financial advice. Peace.